So today we are honored to be joined by the best-selling author and renowned master herbalist, Ms. Sara-Chana Silverstein. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Hannah. I'm so looking forward to this.
All right, so first of all, I know that you are an herbalist, and I would love for you to further explain what exactly it is that an herbalist does, especially for our viewers that may not know.
Our outlook is to help heal the body using botanical medicine, which is made from plants, from the roots, the flowers, the leaves, the seeds, and the barks of trees. And we believe that the healing is here on the planet, and we just have to rediscover really what our ancestors have used for thousands of years.
That's wonderful. When did you first get into this whole idea of becoming an herbalist? Has this been a passion your entire life, or has this been something that you've recently discovered that you were passionate about?
I've been a plant person my entire life. I was one of those young children that had a lot of plants in their room. I just love to see them grow and see their changes and how they transitioned from one stage of growth to the other. I was actually invited to Oxford University to study Shakespeare. And when I was in the library doing research, this was in the beginning of my university career, I was like sneaking over to the botanical medicine. And before I knew it, I wasn't doing my homework. I was just reading about plants. And I just know that we've been on this planet for so long. And, I'm also a lactation consultant. I help women with breastfeeding problems. And I knew, especially in the realm of breastfeeding, that there had to be solutions. I mean, that's how people have fed. So when I started researching different challenging that breastfeeding moms could have, I realized that we could treat them naturally. And I was amazed. I would always say to my clients, you can either, I can refer you back to your doctor for an antibiotic, or we could try this plant. And they tried the plant and things got better. And then when they had their children, I said, look, if your kid gets an ear infection, go get a diagnosis, get your antibiotic. But if you want to treat it naturally, and kids' ear infections were clearing up. So I was seeing before my eyes, and I want to say that I'm not against allopathic conventional medicine. What we need to do is work together, because an herbalist loves if you go get an MRI, then we can really see what's going on, or even an x-ray. But what happens with plant medicine is that there's next to no side effects, because the body reads the herbs as food, brings it, incorporates it into your body, and dispels what it doesn't need. So it's like blueberries, we know, are anti-inflammatory. They help with eyesight. They help, in so many ways. And so plants are similar to that. And so bodies are very comfortable with it. And that's why we don't get the annoying side effects that we can get with antibiotics, psychotropic drugs, and other medications.
So I'm very curious about how exactly would you recommend, from your point of view, people making a switch from modern medicine to more natural remedial practices? And have you noticed any particular withdrawals or anything like that in people trying to make the switch?
So obviously, when I work with a client, I'm not going to ever suggest that they go off their conventional medicine. That's something they have to discuss with their MD. If their MD is on board, then we can work together. And slowly but surely, MDs are understanding that botanical medicine really works. So I don't really take people off their medicine. I want to say that to begin with. But like a lot of people will come to me and they've been on their thyroid medicine, and their thyroid is stable, but it's kind of going up and down and up and down. And they're just spending a lot of time changing their prescription meds. And sometimes when we add a plant to it, like an herb called ashwagandha, we find that even if they're on their medications, the thyroid stays more stable, and then they're not running to and from the doctor all the time. And so what I try to do is see where the client's at. So, if we have someone that's pre-diabetic, the doctors will just say, eat better and exercise. So eating better is different for each person. It depends on their metabolism. Are they constipated? Do they digest food well? So when I sit with a pre-diabetic, we take an hour and a half. We really analyze what their compliance really is. What can they do? And then I suggest botanical interventions. And a lot of my clients, thank God, even 10, 20 years later, have not jumped the fence and become diabetic.
Thank you so much for speaking to that. I would love to kind of take this conversation and translate it into terms of COVID-19. I'm really curious to pick your brain about any immune boosting tips that you have for people that have wanted to obviously prolong and prohibit getting and contracting COVID-19. Could you please explain any immune boosting tips that you have, whether they're vaccinated, unvaccinated? I'm really curious to hear your opinions there.
So I want to preface this by saying I do not have a cure for COVID-19, and I don't have anything that can per se prevent a person from contracting it. The question is, if you have it, how does your body respond and how quickly can you heal? And most importantly, what's the least amount of long-term side effects? Because that's what we're seeing a lot. So I personally love medicinal mushrooms. I have one here called cordyceps, and this is in tincture or liquid form. And I just want to show you, this is a tincture. It's liquid. Herbs really do well when you put them in a liquid form, and then they have a 10-year shelf life. So medicinal mushrooms really help immunomodulate the immune system in its response to viruses and bacteria. So there's some herbs, mushrooms that I'm just going to throw out the names, like a mushroom called reishi has been used in Asia for generations. And it's an herb that really helps build the immune system. And it also helps with anxiety and stress. You can take reishi daily for the next 25, 30 years, and you'll have no negative side effects from it. So medicinal mushrooms are becoming very popular slowly but surely. The one cordyceps, which I picked up first, is an herb that specifically helps you deal with stress. Who doesn't have stress in this world, for sure? And it also helps with your lung capacity. So when people get COVID, the most important goal is that you don't have lung damage, and medicinal mushrooms are excellent at helping prevent that.
That's wonderful. So would you say that this would be the ideal go-to remedy, in your opinion, for basically combating the anxiety that obviously came from COVID-19, financial burdens, all different levels of stress? Would you say that this is your most recommended product for soothing the stress and the anxiety?
For immune, I would say medicinal mushrooms, but I'm going to jump to some other herbs. So there's an herb called skullcap, and skullcap is used for nervous anxiety and tension. And I don't know about you, Hannah, but I think there's a lot of stress out there. People are masking up. People, are worried about another lockdown, quarantining. So skullcap is in the mint family. It's safe for most people. You will feel the herb within 20 minutes. You take some skullcap and your cortisol or anxiety levels will just come down a bit. So you can also take this herb for 10 or 15 years. You can give it to kids, and it really helps your body deal with that stress level. I have another herb here, which is becoming more common. It's called kava. Kava, I love. It's an herb that's been used for generations. It's a great herb to help you fall asleep when you're in an anxious state, and who's not anxious by the end of the day these days? Kava helps relax the muscles. So I don't know about you, Hannah, but like throughout the day, my shoulders just go up higher and, like, oh my gosh, really? I have to deal with that. And at the end of the day, if you just take a couple drops of kava, just the relaxation comes in your shoulders and your mind.
I want to kind of segue into your book, Moodtopia. I'm really curious
Sure.
to hear all about your book and anything that you have to offer in terms of the book, if you want to provide a little bit of a synopsis, and also
Sure.
where can our viewers purchase it?
Sure. So I'm going to show you the cover because it's a gorgeous design. No, I did not design it. This is my book, Moodtopia. And I think the timing of this book is just perfect. I mean, when I was writing this book, which took many years of research, I did not foresee that there would be a COVID-19 lockdown. Moodtopia gives people tools and very easy, inexpensive tips to feel less stressed and more in control of their moods. A lot of people I meet, they're like, oh, I'm not moody. Why would I need Moodtopia? And the truth is that as an herbalist, pre-COVID, I found that people were very successful in their lives, but they felt short-tempered. They feel like they get angry quickly or even sad and depressed. So in Moodtopia, we talk about botanical medicine to help with sadness, depression, anxiety, and fear. And this is what I've seen in my practice. There are people that are already on psychotropic meds, and if they're working, great. But we've got this whole group of people that are like, I don't quite need psychotropic meds, but I wouldn't say I'm completely calm and have it together. And that's where herbs shine. I mean, again, with psychotropic meds, a lot of my clients feel the combination works beautifully. But those people that are in university stressing about their grades, or people that have transitioned to online work and they're like, I'm really used to interacting with my friends. That's where the book Moodtopia comes in. It talks about the health of the liver and how to lower your cortisol levels so you can function to the peak that you're able to, because all those stressors get in our way. You're like, I know I could have rocked that job interview, but I was so nervous. Or even I had a date with my boyfriend, husband, partner, and I was just so stressed out. I was like not fun to be with. Whereas if you take a little skullcap or blue vervain, which is another herb, it can just take the edge off of it so you can expose the real you. And that's why I wrote the book Moodtopia.
I think it's going to be a fantastic resource, and I'm very proud of you yet again. So I just want to
Thank
say thank you so much for being on the show. It has seriously been such an honor to be able to speak with you and to learn so much more about natural remedies, honestly, just for life. And I'm honestly so honored. And I want to thank everyone for watching. Stay tuned and stick around for more interviews, inspiring stories, and positivity with popfuziontv.com.